Chip Rogers. I'm the new city forester. I just wanted to welcome you here today. It's Arbor Day. Does anybody know what Arbor Day is even about? What is it, buddy? Come on. Grow trees. All right. Yes, it is about trees. In fact, arbor means tree in Latin. Yeah, so tree day, kind of. Yeah, do you know how it started? Just a quick thing here how it started. Like the middle 1800s. That was before cars, phones, anything like that. They had a guy, the guy's name was Morton. Julius. I think it was Julius Morton, wasn't it? Yeah. And he moved from New York. He got married and he moved from New York, which was like here with all these trees all around, just trees everywhere. And he moved out to Nebraska. And he bought 160 acres of land and didn't have a tree on the land. Can you imagine 160 acres without any trees? That's a lot of land. Well, he ended up buying thousands of trees and planting trees everywhere. And by 1885, they celebrated the first Arbor Day in Nebraska. And then like 20 years later, by 20 years later, every state in the union, except for I think New Jersey, was on board. And then New Jersey finally came in on it. What's up with New Jersey, huh? Yeah. But that's, you know what made Mr. Morton happy about the whole thing? Was schools started getting involved and they started planting trees. And the kids started planting trees. And that's what's so cool about today, because of all the kids and all the city schools today, you guys are the ones that get to celebrate Arbor Day. The other kids aren't getting to do it, so you guys have got something really cool and special here today going on. All right? So we're gonna drop some trees today. We're gonna plant some trees today. We're gonna learn some things about trees, do a nature walk. That's why we have you in 3 different groups. Now bear with me, I just want to thank a couple people for showing up, okay? All right. I want to welcome you and thank you for your teachers for bringing you. I'd like to thank Tom Bechtel and Heritage Lawn and Landscape and Lawn Care for coming. Joe Bucher of American Tree Experts and his crew. The Garden Club of York for buying the tree. They paid the money for the trees. They bought the trees. The Garden Club does a lot for us in the city. And that's Priscilla Waldman is the president. She started the program? Well, thank you, Ann. Thank you. Very nice to have you here again this year. And Matt Kern from the DCNR. And so like I said, a special thing at the end, Matt. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He's got tree cookies. Tree cookies. Can you believe it? Yeah, that's gonna be one of the groups. So just hang. If you got hats, hold on, because it's tree cookies today. I've never heard of them either.
Chocolate chip tree cookies.
So Matt, you have a presentation. This is the 30th year of Tree City USA, and Matt's going to give that presentation to Mr. Landis.
So again, welcome everybody to Arbor Day in the city of York 2014. As Chip mentioned, my name is Matthew Kern, and my job is I work as what's called the service forester for York and Adams counties. But today I'm here as a representative for the National Arbor Foundation to present the city of York with their Tree City materials for the 30th year. So this is a pretty special day. It's the 30th year that York's been recognized as a Tree City USA participant. To maintain this status, York must meet the following criteria: a shade tree board or department, a shade tree ordinance in place, an annual budget of at least $2 per capita, and an annual observance and proclamation. So this is the observance and proclamation here today. So I would like to encourage the city to continue the great work they've done in the past several years with both planting both street trees and trees in the city parks. So this past year we had a bad ice storm in the city of York. Does everybody know about that ice storm? So we lost some trees and lost some branches. But what the city is doing is they're replanting trees to replace the ones that we lost. So that's really important. And later when we break out to our stations, we're going to talk about all the benefits trees give us. So stay tuned for that. So congratulations and thank you to the city for your hard work and dedication. Thank you to the mayor and thank you to the Garden Club of York for donating the trees that we're planting today. Thank you very much. And now I'll present the mayor the Tree City materials for this year.
Okay.
It's just your goodie box, and that's where the flag's back over there. We'll get the flag and then we'll usually get a picture with the kids.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. And I have a proclamation for you.
Excellent. I can do that.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Friday, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for being here. Did you have a good walkover? Yeah. Good. Okay. Thank you to the Garden Club for being here. We appreciate you very, very much. All the city staff, you guys are terrific. And of course, our tree guys, our experts in the field. We appreciate all that you do for us as well, too. All of our partners make this an important day for us for lots of reasons. As we've already heard, we had a bad winter, very bad winter. I lost a tree myself, and it is important that we have trees in our community. So I really appreciate you all being here. I have a proclamation in honor of Arbor Day as well, too. April 25th, 2014, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees. And whereas a special day named Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and today Arbor Day is observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our home, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our cities increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and makes our parks specials as well, whereas trees are a source of joy and a spiritual renewal and promote the well-being of present and future generations, whereas York has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation, and we pledge to continue to plant trees for the prosperity of our city and our residents. And therefore, I, C. Kim Bracey, Mayor of the City of York, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2014 as Arbor Day in the City of York, and I urge all of us, all of our citizens, to support efforts to care for our trees and woodlands and to support our city community forestry program. Given under my hand and sealed the City of York this 25th day of April in the year of our Lord 2014, C. Kim Bracey. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Happy Arbor Day, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Tree expert here.
My name is Joel. I have American Tree Experts. I take care of trees in the city and around, in parks, at homes, etc. As Matt alluded to here, he said this is Arbor Day, and can a couple of you guys maybe, and he'll go on this a little more, but I'd like to know if a few of you know the benefits of trees. Just one. Good.
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Right, and that's what you were going to say about, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
School supplies like paper and pencils.
Right, paper, building supplies, tool supplies. Wood for houses. And you yet?
Sap.
Yeah, sap. What sap for making maple syrup? Go ahead, one more.
Fire.
Yeah, for firewood. There's a lot of benefits for trees. Food for wildlife. How about shade in the summer? You're hot, you don't lay out in the sun, you go under a tree and relax. Unfortunately, trees do have a lifespan. Unfortunately, sometimes we have to take them down. Today, we're going to show you how to take down a tree. And I'll tell you, when guys cut trees down, or girls for that matter, cut trees down, what do they yell? Anybody know? Timber. Yeah. Now, we're gonna take this tree down right here. Now I'm gonna stand right here beside you, and I'm gonna count to 3. And when that tree starts to go, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and then you're gonna yell timber. Now, let's give it a practice shot. And could you blow me away? Huh? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Timber!
Not bad.
to do it again. What do you say? Yeah! I want you guys to really yell this time. We're going to take this one out over here. You know something? This tree here was damaged in the ice storm we had in February. It had to come down. This tree over here, if you look at the base, you see how rotted it is? Yeah. Okay, that could be a hazard for somebody coming along here and walking if it would fall. So that's why we're taking it down. We normally don't like to take, we don't take healthy trees down, just hazardous ones, okay? Hey.
Anybody have a wild guess what kind of tree this might be? Actually a maple tree, okay? Good try though. So this is a maple tree and it's actually a sugar maple tree. Did anybody ever hear of a sugar maple tree? What do you think we get from sugar maple trees?
Syrup.
Syrup for our pancakes, right? So that's one benefits and uses of trees. One thing that trees do is they produce food for us. Can anybody think of any other kind of food that we might get from trees? What kind of food? Okay, so the sap that's how we make the maple syrup. But what other kind of food?
Apples or oranges.
Excellent. Apples and oranges, they come from trees, right? What about another type of food? Something that we might eat and also some animals might eat. Can you think of anything?
A lemon.
Yep, lemons, that's more fruit. What I was thinking of, we get nuts from trees too, right? Walnuts. So you can actually get nuts that you eat off trees. What else I know we already talked about some of the uses of trees. What else do trees do for us?
Oxygen.
Oxygen, they produce oxygen, right? They also clean the air, okay? What else do trees do for us? If this was a hot summer day,
Shade.
you would want to sit under the shade of this maple tree, right? Okay, now think of animals. Do animals use trees at all?
Yes.
What all do animals use trees for?
To live in.
Deer might rub horns on them. Do you think do birds build their nests in trees?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think birds need trees for food?
Yes.
Yep. So birds eat nuts too, right? They eat the buds and such. Trees also clean our water. That's very important use of our forests is forests produce clean water. Can you believe that? No. Well, they do. So the shade in the summertime, that also helps to reduce electric bills because there's less sun beating on your house. There's shade produced from the trees, so your electric bills are higher. Let's think about, we get something called wood products from trees. Do you know what I might be talking about there with wood products? What types of actual wood products might we get from trees?
A clipboard.
Yep. So right here, clipboard made from wood products, right? Paper products. Does anybody use paper?
Yes.
Do you use any paper?
Yes.
Where does that come from?
Trees.
That's right. What about building materials? Our houses are built out of wood. Parts of that stage, the roof and such, is made out of wood. That all comes from trees. What about in the wintertime? Our houses are cold in the wintertime. Some people might heat with firewood, right?
Yes.
Firewood comes from trees. Okay, let's talk about 5 basic parts of a tree, okay? We can see something coming out from the base right here. Goes underground. Roots, right? So what do the roots do for the tree?
Keep the tree in the ground.
Keeps it in the ground, supports it, anchors it. What else does the root do?
Gives it food.
Gives it food, right? It sucks water up through the roots, okay? Coming up from the roots, we have this part. We're going to call this the trunk, okay? What does the trunk do for the tree?
Gives it space.
The trunk serves kind of as the plumbing between the roots and the leaves, okay? So the leaves are making the food, the roots are absorbing the water, all that's moved up through the trunk, okay? On the outside of the trunk, we have bark. Do you know what the bark does for the tree?
It keeps it safe.
It keeps it safe, right? It protects the tree. Moving up from the trunk, we have things going out here. We got limbs and branches, okay? What do the branches do for the tree? Any guesses?
It
It's more of that plumbing, okay? But it holds something that's out on the end of the branches, the last part of the tree, so the limbs hold the leaves. And what do the leaves do for the tree?
Get food from the sun.
Yep, exactly. The leaves get the food from the sun. Good job. Any questions on the parts of the tree and what they do? So when we're done here, I'm going to give the teachers a handout, and it talks about the parts of the tree. But now, since you guys were listening so well, you'll be able to fill that out without any problem. And also at the end, everybody's going to get a seedling, okay? So the seedling, there's two basic types of trees. We have evergreen trees, and we have trees that lose their leaves. Does anybody know what the big word is for that? A tree that loses its leaves? You're thinking of it, I think. It's called deciduous. Deciduous means it drops its leaves. So this tree, maple tree, is deciduous because it drops its leaves, okay? The tree you folks are getting is an evergreen tree. You might call it a pine tree, okay? It looks like these trees over here, and it holds on to its leaves, okay? So now let's all, as a group, walk over to the table, stay on the outside of the table, and we're going to look at some. Remember Mr. Rogers talked about tree cookies? We're going to go over and look at these tree cookies. So these tree cookies, this is just basically a cross section of the trunk that we just looked at, okay? So that trunk is running up like this, okay? These cookies were just cross sections that were taken out of that tree. So what I want to show you here I got 3 tree cookies, okay? And logic would be, which tree do you think is the oldest tree? No, out of these 3. You would think it was the big one, okay?
No, it's this one because it has more rings.
But I'm actually, so you know that you can tell the age of a tree by counting the rings. So the trick question here is actually all 3 of these trees are all the same age, okay? They were all taken out of the same, what we call plantation. Now this tree just didn't get much sunlight, so it didn't produce much food, and it didn't put much wood growth on the trunk. This tree was probably getting a lot of sunlight, and it put on a lot of growth. So you can tell in these other trees, towards the end, the growth rings get really close, okay? So it wasn't growing. So if do I have a volunteer that can count the rings on this tree? You've been a real good student. So if you want to start in the center, and I'm going to keep talking to the group, you start right there and count outward and tell me what you come up with. So now here's another tree cookie, tree cross section. And again, you would think that this was a really old tree, right? Because it's a big tree. This tree just happened to grow up right close to my house. It was kind of like in a park. It got a lot of sunlight. So this big tree, how old do you think this big tree might be?
100 years old.
You would think that's a great guess. That's a great guess. This tree, I counted the rings, and I got 67 years old on this tree, okay? So this big tree is only 67. And then this is another trick question. This is what's called a hickory tree, another type of tree. So we have a pine tree, an oak tree, and a hickory tree. This little hickory tree is a really old tree. So anybody over here want to guess how old this tree might be?
98.
98's real close.
97.
I got 112 years old on this hickory tree. So this hickory tree was not getting a lot of sunlight, did not produce a lot of food, okay? So this one was getting a lot of sunlight, had a lot of leaves on that was making food from the sun. Okay, thank you. Did you have a question?
Yeah. You said it produces food.
Right.
It's 26. You can eat.
No, the tree itself uses its leaves to produce food for the tree. Did you have an answer for me?
26.
26 years old. So this tree right here was 26 years old, and this tree right here was 26 years old as well, okay? So you can tell a tree, just like us, trees grow at different rates, right? Another question.
Isn't hickory the one, if you find the fire, it has that, like, this is a really tree.
Hickory makes a really good firewood, yep. And hickory's real heavy wood and real strong wood, okay? So because of those properties, we use hickory for such things as making tool handles, okay? So if you can think of a rake that needs a lot of strength so you don't break the handle, those handles are made out of hickory wood.
We're going to talk about trees and how they relate to nature. What animals utilize trees for their homes? What animals might utilize trees for food? So let's start down here with the one that's been cut down. Kind of get a sense for what might have been living in here. See, there's all these cavities, all these little holes.
Oh, like this.
It might have been woodpecker or something.
No, you know what was living in here?
termites?
Ants. This was a great home. This was a home for ants. And look over here at this trunk.
Whoa.
See all the holes? See, all these holes were little places where the ants live.
Either termites or something else.
Carpenter ants.
They're cool. They eat what I get.
Yeah.
Are you gonna take off?
So we got
Serious, I'm not like
carpenter ants making a nest. So we have insects that make nests in trees. There's any other insects you guys can think of that make nests in trees? Yes.
termites.
Termites. Termites will feed on rotting wood. Now, most of the time when you see ants and termites in trees, they're feeding on dead or decayed wood. So it's an indication. Well, this center section, it's kind of hard to see here, but the outside is all healthy wood. But the inside,
It's like messed
this side is all rotted and this is decayed. So that's where the ants will like to localize, is where it's decayed. And that can also, it can weaken the tree. Now the outside of the tree is still healthy, but the inside is starting to decay.
It can break the end.
Yeah. So we have a stream right here in the park. And what benefit do trees have for a stream?
Water source.
Especially that
Well, this is something, the trees will feed off of the water
cleans
from,
the water.
but it also shades the stream.
Also roots coming down from the
Right.
tree.
So what the tree will do for the stream is kind of hold things in place. If there were no trees, if this was just an open field of dirt, when it's had high water, we have storms and the stream washes through, it would erode soil. So the stream would get bigger, would push dirt around. But the trees will tend to hold the soil because their roots are like an anchor system. They hold the soil in place, prevent it from washing away. So it holds the form of the stream. It also provides shade for the stream so the stream doesn't get too warm. When the water gets too warm, you have things like algae that grow in the stream. And some of the other animals that would normally inhabit that stream, they don't like the warmer water. They like colder water. So they don't survive as well when the water gets warmer. Back up out of the high grass here. I'll come up to you. Now, there's also clams in here, clam shells, because there's freshwater clams in the stream. This is a freshwater clam. This one's alive, no. And this guy, she doesn't bite, but she has pincers.
Is she dirty?
She, this is a she, you know how you can tell?
What is it again? Back up. What is
You don't want to know?
No.
It's a crayfish. Look underneath.
Ew.
See in the back here?
Yeah.
It's not poop. See, those are eggs. This crayfish it's a girl, and she has eggs. See these are all eggs underneath there.
I see it. It's cool.
So this is a female crayfish, and she's gonna lay eggs. What's that? Well, they live under rocks. You'll find them underneath rocks in the stream.
Don't play like that. Look at his mouth. His mouth is cool. Look at
That's
the
why they
mouth.
call him a sucker.
Is it a carp?
Kind of like a carp.
Does it bite?
No, they don't bite.
It's a magic carp. They eat.
No, stay back.
We're gonna plant a tree today. Anybody want to take a quick guess as to what kind of tree this is? Pittsburgh Steelers guy. Yeah. All right. What do you think? Oh, you hit the nail on the head right away. It is an oak tree. This one is called a chestnut oak. In Pennsylvania, there's probably at least 8 different oak trees. White oak, black oak, red oak, scarlet oak. They all have color names for the most part, except this one, chestnut oak. Chestnut oak also has a couple other names in Pennsylvania. Rock oak, ridge oak, maybe a few others. It gets those names because of where it often grows. You get up north and west of here on all the ridges of Pennsylvania, go up on the high rocky ridges of all those mountains, the dominant species is this tree. It's called a ridge oak or rock oak because of where it grows. It thrives in a very rocky, ridgy environment. It'll also grow here in the park as well, but it's chestnut oak. What is a common item that oak trees produce? You see them on the ground in the fall. You can pick them up. Squirrels eat them. In the back.
Pine cones.
Not pine cones. They would come from a pine tree like that. This is a
deciduous tree that loses its leaves, but all oak trees have these nuts. What do we call them? Acorns. That's that little nut with a cap on the top. This tree's too young to show you some. You might be thinking, oh, Tom, there's some acorns right there that are growing. These are not acorns. Believe it or not, these are called a gall, G-A-L-L, a gall. It's formed by an insect maybe a year ago that landed on the twig, pierced the bark and sucked some juice out of the twig, and the tree formed a growth response called a gall. These are very hard and woody. They don't harm the tree, they just kind of look unusual. And maybe in another year or two they'll drop off, but they're not a nut, they're not a fruit, they're not a seed, they're just a growth response from an insect feeding on the tree. You can pick them off, but sometimes you might destroy the branch by doing so we just leave them go. They're not going to harm anything. All right, so we're going to plant this tree, and you're going to help us plant it in a second. Hand it off to one of your classmates there. You guys are going to, forever, you'll be able to come back to this park and say to your friends, hey, I helped plant that tree right there, so remember this tree. You're planting the one closest to the trail there.
So everybody did an excellent job today. I really think this was the best group we ever had. So hats off to the students and the teachers for all your great attention today. And I hope everybody learned something today.
What do you say for the nice compliment?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Give the kids all the credit. They're the ones that made the choices. Good job, guys. I'm proud of you.
So we have a special guest here yet today that we didn't introduce yet. He's on his way out. But I want to talk about something right now. So in Pennsylvania, the spring is the worst season for something that happens out in our forest. Does anybody know what might happen in our forest this time of the year?
Some trees overlap and not overlap.
It does.
Wildfire?
We have a lot of wildfires in the spring, okay? Actually, this past Tuesday, I was out of town all week. I was working on a wildfire, okay? I was out west of here in an area called Bedford County, and we had a big wildfire out there. And our biggest cause of wildfire is people, okay? People start these fires, okay? And it destroys forests, destroys habitat for animals and such. So I want everybody to be smart this time of the year with wildfire. Make sure you put campfires out. So at this time, hopefully our special guest is ready. He usually shows up for this every year. Let's see if he's available yet.
There's a big wildfire on the news today. New Jersey.
Keeping us on pins and needles.
Hey! Smokey!
Say hi, Smokey! It's a gift from Smokey.